Hey everyone, Sirturmund here again. And I've been, avoiding showcasing this deck because there's been a lot of other content creators that have showcased it, but I think this deck is really still very strong. So I figured I will give you my take on it and kind of walk you through my plays. And obviously the deck that I'm talking about is Gwen Katarina Elise. This deck started surfacing really during the last week of the last meta, of the last patch. And it really actually had a big splash in the season. A lot of players bought it, got top 32 with it. You saw it being played in the top 32 as well, and for good reason, because the deck is really, really good. And I think recently, Emotional also hit rank 1 with this deck as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and just jump right to it. So this is Katarina Elise Gwen, and this is kind of like a mid-range slash aggro type of deck with some control too. It's kind of mixing everything. It reminds me a lot of like Viego with Legion Deserter, that used to have this big Viego Legion Deserter combo and also have like these control tools on top of it and like these mid-range tools. This is literally the same way, right? So we're playing stuff like, we have a lot of early units with the Host, the Sentinels, Elise, House Spiders, Phantom Butler, that allow us to kind of play this aggressive state and be able to have a lot of have our board go wide enough that we can push a lot of damage early. Then we transition to like a more mid-range style where we have Sanctuary, Katarina, Scalar, Gwen, Ruin Reckoner, and Fallen Reckoner to be able to actually kind of remove the opponent's blockers and just attack with these big beefy units, especially as these units start getting buffed up with the Halo buff. So obviously the idea here is that you buff these units with the Halo buff. You can play the Fallen Reckoner, removing the opponent's blocker, making them useless, and then just push a ton of damage, or forcing them to have to block with the strongest unit. And then you can combine that with stuff that doing Reckoner to allow your Gwen to attack again. You can combine that with Katarina to be able to get rallies so that you can keep attacking all over again, etc, etc. It ends up being pretty crazy. The one of Francis Kittle is there because we are playing a lot of fearsomes between the Sentinels and the Elise and the Phantom Butler, that sometimes getting rid of fearsome blockers actually ends up being pretty crucial, especially then right after you can follow with a Katarina rally to kind of attack twice against a board that cannot block at all. And then kind of towards the late game, we do play for Eternal Dancers and Heroine. So Eternal Dancers kind of lets us get back some of our key units. Really nice if you hit the Fallen Reckoner, because it means that the Fallen Reckoner will at burst speed get rid of one of their blocker and just push a lot of damage that way. A Heroine, of course, brings everything back, which synergizes really well with Fallen Reckoner, Ruin Reckoner, synergizes with Katarina, synergizes with Gwen. It's such a, even synergizes with the Skittler. It's such a good card in this deck because you can just bring everything back and just finish him that way. A lot of games you're finishing up with the Heroine. That's really your big main win condition. But it's not rare for you to just aggro them down even before you get to the Heroine turn. Really, I would say the key cards in this deck tends to be like the Fallen Reckoner and the Katarina and the Gwen. They just put so much pressure on the opponent that the opponent has to deal with them right away. And obviously Heroine is another key card, but I'm talking just units, right? Aside from that, if we go now to like a more control tools, like I talked about, we are playing Haste Spike, which lets us sacrifice some of our Halo units to get the Halo buff there, or even some of the Spiderlings because we are playing two House Spiders. We're also playing Triple Flock. We tend to do a lot of chump block damage, and we have the Haste Spike as well as two Battle Feasts to be able to trigger that flock. And obviously the Katarina Zero Cost or the Katarina Blaze Edge, where there is one above or above, also kind of helps us out to trigger that flock. The deck kind of does a little bit of everything, and ends up doing really, really well in the meta, and I think it's one of the strongest decks. So hopefully this video helps you learn how to play the deck. And if you don't learn from just me, you can check out some of the other great LOR content creators. I think Majin Bay, Akedo, Jay Sensational all have posted videos on this deck. I think Mr. Mo as well. So you learn some from here, and then you can get some extra games there on the YouTube channels. As always though, if you do like our content, please make sure to like the video below and subscribe to us. We post LOR videos every single day. I'll see you at the end of the video for some mulligan tips. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Pirate Aggro. This is going to be problematic. They have a lot, like again, and Gwen is amazing, but we need more early stuff, right? We probably need Battle Feast, perfect. Battle Feast and Katarina, which lets us attack multiple times with Gwen. Problem is that Gwen dies to the Riptide Sermon, so opponent kept one card. If they're smart and just play for the Riptide Sermon win condition, then the Gwen will never be like a big threat, as opponent can always just save enough mana for her. So let's see how this plays out. Rear guard, okay. They get the rear guard. We have the butler to be able to block it. If this is Marai Warden, then we can just... So if it's Marai Warden, Precious Pet. I actually like the butler here. Oh, it's so risky though, because if the opponent has like another one drop, so I think it's just Battle Feast, right? It's just Battle Feast. We can block the rear guard, and then we can do the Blaze Edge to kill it next turn. Okay, fine. Or we can just block the Saboteur now. Actually, does it matter? If we're gonna play Katarina next turn, it doesn't really matter, right? We just block here. That's not true. We don't have to play Katarina, right? We can just block here. We probably don't want to play Katarina, actually. I think I'm probably just gonna go Phantom Butler instead. Just push that damage with the Butler, because Katarina gets recall, leaving me without a blocker. So let's go Butler. The downside here is that we could have played double Butler next turn, which probably was slightly better. So we could have played Katarina this turn, then double Butler next turn. Because I technically didn't have to attack with Katarina. Let's get the damage in. I think raising them probably is going to be important. Opponent decided to save the 3 mana, so that's telling me that they have access to what? Okay, they want to play the Sirturmund. What they're telling me right here is that they want to play the Sirturmund. So we pass. If the opponent doesn't want to do anything, I'm chilling with that too. Like, if the opponent doesn't want to tap out of 6 mana, I'm also chilling with that. Yeah, we can just Battle Feast this. Now what? You're gonna keep passing? You're gonna keep passing. I think that's nuts. If the opponent literally keeps passing here, that's absolutely nuts. Wow. They actually are. I'm gonna pass, because I don't want to attack, because I want to be able to have the attack token to threaten the Gwen. I think I'm okay to give them the Sirturmund. No. We still have a blocker here, right? I mean, at some point, I have to stop playing around the Sirturmund. But the good thing is that we can do other stuff before we threaten the Gwen, right? Opponent is nuts. So they have 10 mana. So this is what I'm talking about. We can play Katarina here, which lets us kill the Saboteur. Let's say that the opponent does the Riptide Sirturmund. So opponent goes for the Riptide Sirturmund. The punish here is going to be Twisted Fate. The gold card kills a Katarina. But we still get the free kill on the Saboteur, which is probably worth it. Opponent wants to save the Sirturmund exactly for Gwen. Make it rain? Sure. I'm not gonna glimpse yet.
This might hurt.
Let's attack. Let's attack right now. Let's just level up with Katarina. Because we can literally just summon her again this turn. But if the opponent passes, we pass back. I think at this point we're okay summoning Katarina, leveling up Katarina. Because remember, now we get a 0 cost. So now we get a 0 cost Blaze Edge. We're gonna attack first and push our 5 damage. So we're gonna attack first and push our 5 damage. Eventually, the opponent's gonna have no health to work with. They probably have to Fervor right here. They literally have to Fervor the Katarina. Absolutely nuts. I think it's absolutely nuts that the opponent's not doing Fervor. Wow. Wow. Huh. So... if the opponent has another Anakaboros, they get to push 6 damage next turn. I think it's correct to go here. I think it's correct to go here. We can always flock that. I'm gonna flock it right now, actually. Before the opponent has access to their fervor. I'm pretty sure they're sitting on Sirturmund. They're just waiting for us to summon Gwen. But like, every time they have to hold that 6 mana. Every time they have to hold that 6 mana. So like, right here in the open attack, they can either attack for 2 and then still save 6, or do nothing. And because we have level Katarina now, if they tap out of 6 mana and we can summon the Gwen, we get to start healing back up, so this 2 damage doesn't matter. If they get too cheeky, we can always just go.
Nice to meet you. I'm Isla.
Like, we can always go here, right? Which is what I'm talking about. They got a little bit cheeky, so we can go ahead and do this. Notice how they're still not tapping out of 6 mana. Notice how they're still not tapping out of 6 mana. Now, losing Katarina now will be a problem, though. So maybe I don't want to lose Kata. Maybe I don't want to lose a Katarina. Because we can always just block the Bakai Reaper. And then have the 0 cost for the Mirai Warden. I mean, I guess we can always just go Phantom Butler as well. Opponent eventually has to start blocking. It's so crazy. Like, they're trying to big brain us, but as long as you know how to play around the Sirturmund, like, we're just getting so much pressure. They're already at 8 HP, and it's already turn 8. The craziest thing is that we could still lose this. If we're not careful, we can easily lose this. And once again, they're not tapping out of 6 mana. The problem is that now they're going to have access to double Sirturmund, which could be problematic. What if we just kill it now? What if we just go like this now? I don't hate this. I don't hate this. I'll take the 2. If you want to Sirturmund now, it lets us play double Gwen next turn if we need to. There's the Sirturmund that we've been talking about. We go here, we go here, and we start drawing more stuff. Opponent's gonna have to block. They don't. By the way, they don't get the kill, right? So they don't get the kill. So the Rapier is not even a good blocker for the Sentry, which is pushing 4. So just like that, opponent's just pushing. Opponent's about to just lose a ton of damage. Now we can play the Gwen. I think now is when we start playing the Gwen, because we can play double Gwen. We can play double Gwen. We have Haste Spike. We have Flocks. Opponent just committed 1 Sirturmund, so the opponent has to do 2nd Sirturmund. The problem is that the Gwen will die. Oh, it doesn't have it. Doesn't even have it. What? So they're not doing the Sirturmund? Ha! Could have Twisted Fate though, so I need to be careful. Why do we go here? If we go here, we're presenting lethal. Because if the opponent tries to react with anything, we have Haste Spike. Like, opponent has to stop this attack from Gwen. And I'm forcing them to block with the sap. Wow. We know they have a Fervor. They hit the Make It Rain, unfortunately. So they do hit the Make It Rain. So we go Haste Spike here. And we're still pushing 5 damage now. They hit the Make It Rain. That's annoying. They hit the Make It Rain. We can always flock this tentacle now because the opponent just damaged it themselves. We get rid of their elusive. Opponent has used a lot of burn now. The next unit we summon, which is going to be Gwen, is going to have Spell Shield. So the next Gwen we summon is going to have Spell Shield. We're pushing 5 unless the opponent has a unit. Doesn't have it. Opponent is down to 3 HP. We summon Gwen. We win the game. Because we high roll the Spell Shield. Cool.
What a strange, wonderful world.
Cool. We can go Reckoner to just push the 2 damage here. That way we just open attack with Gwen again to win the game. So how can the opponent deal with this? We know they have another 3 cost less spell. That's the third sap.
Let's do this.
What did we just pass? What if we just pass first? I don't want to play the Butler. How did they beat this? There's no way that they beat this, right?
Noxus will pay for what they did to us.
There shouldn't be a way for them to beat this Gwen. Because they already used Fervor number 1, Make It Rain number 1. They used Make It Rain number 2. So they use 2 Make It Rains and 1 Fervor, so it's very likely they have another Fervor. They can play the Riptide Sermon, and that's not really gonna do a lot. Decimate, and then we just heal back up. Opponent has to block her. So Fervor, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here first. That's going to force the opponent to Fervor right now. Fervor only takes us to 3. I just want to set up a big open attack. Although we win with the open attack with the Gwen anyways. But I want to set ourselves not to lose to double Fervor. I guess we never do because we have this, but yeah. Now opponent has to block with the sap. They're not going to have any other target for Fervor. And they shouldn't have anything fast speed that can kill us anymore. And that should be game. Because we win in the open attack with both the Gwen skill and the fact that we're 3 wide. And here we go. We're also technically we also beat a Decimate, but there's no reason for us to play around a for us to give them the chance to play the Decimate. It's crazy to me how long they held on to that Riptide Sermon. It's probably because they didn't have any unit in their hands, right? They didn't have Misfortune and stuff like that. So they were trying so hard to counter our Gwen that it just allows us to just get them so low and do whatever we wanted. So you gotta be a little bit careful when you hold on the Sermon for that long. So GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Timelines. I don't know if we can beat their stats. They also have freezes and they also have like Troll Chance. So this is actually looking very scary here. I like the Butler just as a way to get the Hallow. They also kept 1 card, so very likely that they have Timelines, right? Considering they kept exactly 1 card.
Well, I did say I
feel like if you have Timelines, you have to use it right away. They don't go for it. I guess let's go ahead with the Elise.
I don't bite.
Opponent could have the Hook. Oh, that's not a Hook Master, so we're just pushing this damage? Wow, okay, so opponent didn't get Timelines on 1. They probably don't want to block here, right? Because why do you want to trade that Spiderling? If they don't block the Spiderling, then we could potentially level up Elise. Yeah. Yeah, we could potentially have leveled up the Elise if the opponent didn't block that Spiderling, but they went ahead and did the smart thing. Still though, no Timelines is very good for us. Starts going for the draw. Let's go ahead with the Butler. I just want to push Fearsome damage first before we commit the House Spider. Discards. Redna too, okay. Gets the mist. Oh, finally gets Timelines. On turn 3. Doesn't have it. They get hit by all the Fearsomes one more time. Once again, they probably always have to block the Spiderling. They always have to block the Spiderling. Question is, I don't think we draw, right? I guess we could have. We could have drawn. We could have drawn there. But now this is when they start getting pretty crazy. Now they are down to 11 HP. Well, as I say that, they get the Broadback Protector, so they're back up to... They're gonna be back up to full health. They're gonna be to 19 by the time the Broadback dies. By the time the Broadback dies, they're gonna be up at 19. Unless we draw exactly Flock. Sure. I guess they're probably gonna block with the Broadback Protector next turn anyways. It's a little bit of an awkward hand for us too, though. Oh, there's the Flock, which means that we can actually go here, and we have a pretty big open attack. Because this guy dies to their own skill, and the only block is going to be by. There's still going to be a 17, which is really annoying. And they can counter the Harrowing with Very Nice. Yeah, because this thing still heals 3, even though he only has 1 HP. Which is... kind of sucks. I mean, usually I don't mind when I'm playing Tiki Raka, but... this is one situation where I wish that wasn't the case. They can also transfer their rake. So they can also transfer the rake to the Vi. To try to push damage that way. Get quick attack on that guy. I kind of want to see this. This is another game where I wish I had the Overwhelm units. Right? So if we have the Overwhelm units, I think we're in a better spot. Like the Fallen Reckoners and stuff. Unfortunately, we don't have them. Opponent can put Scout on the buy, level them up. Yeah. And again, still keeps enough mana for Very Nice next turn. Place around the Flock as well by pulling the 1/1. We just have to hope that we can go wider than them. I don't think that's ever happening. Okay, they're gonna just put Overwhelm now. Wow, it started out well for us, and then our hand just kind of stalled out. Because it's going to be 5. Yeah, the Overwhelm here. Regen? Wait, opponent. Why regen? Why regen? They still have enough mana for Bury next turn. While also having enough blockers for everything else. I guess they just go for the regen so that they can just continue getting value with Vi. I think we just continue passing. As much as I hate it, I think we just continue passing. We don't have an attack next time anymore. Yeah, opponent just passes back. That's what I figure. So we don't have a good attack next turn anyways. And if we continue passing here, we eventually just lose the game. What if we go here first? That's what I was looking for earlier. So this is what I was looking for earlier. I said that if I do it now, opponent just goes Very Nice and wins the game. So we can't go for it because the opponent has Very Nice, right? So opponent has Very Nice, so we can't go for that attack. What we can do is that we can do the Fallen Reckoner now. Start getting rid of their units. Opponent kindly gives us the tough part, and again, because they didn't give this Overwhelm, we're not in any concern of losing. If they had given that Overwhelm, we actually were in trouble. But for some reason, they didn't go for it that way. And even lets us resummon the Reckoner. Wow, okay. Ha! Interesting. Gwen is pushing 2. So Gwen is pushing 2.
See me.
The Reckoner is gonna push overwhelm damage. We can prevent the Gallant Rider from being a blocker. Opponent's playing like the opponent's just playing for the very nice. But we do lose to the double buy attack next turn. So if the opponent just very nice whenever they want to, we lose the game. Because they still have access to very nice right here. So we're gonna have to go like this. They are forced to block. They're forced to block with Divine, right? But that's not true because they can easily just kill, like freeze this. So they can easily just freeze this. Troll shan't freeze, anything doesn't. I still think opponent just won like 2 hours ago if they actually played what they needed to play.
I'm doing this.
So if they literally did what they need, I guess they still win here. Like, they still win here, but man. We can force that Vi to block.
Never play fair.
We can force that Vi to block with the Ruin Reckoner, but we lose to a Mystic. Ah, that's not true. The Vi still stays alive. The Vi still stays alive. Unless we go like this. So now the opponent has to block with the Vi. Because we have enough Hallows for death. Alright. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Do we kill that Financier? I guess we should. We're low enough that I want to kill their units. I think we're low enough now that we should just kill their units. Ideally, by the way... Wow. I don't care about losing the first Highway.
Look, a thing. Elf, that's not ours.
So now we can do Fallen Reckoner. Opponent has to like commit something here.
Punchline.
Okay, so we need to have them commit. We have to have them commit for the scout, right? And once they commit for the scout, we do the sentry. They're probably gonna go for it, right? Because this is presenting lethal, so we go like this. And now we're chilling. We can get rid of all their blockers. So if we go like this, we get on to 3, which is probably not good for us. So we can get rid of the Vi as a blocker by summoning the Risen Reckoner. And we have just enough mana for Risen Reckoner into Harrowing if we need to. We could also just attack. I think the attack is worse. I think we just go here. Let's say that the opponent goes for very nice here. We still have access to Eternal Dancers, which is probably better than Harrowing. Opponent has no blockers. And Katarina is going to level up. Oh, wow. Okay, so now we just played Harrowing and we win the game. Opponent got cocky because they saw us discard another Harrowing when they did the Aloof. But wow, we actually beat this. We actually won this game. We actually won this game somehow. That's actually nuts. That's actually nuts, by the way. Wow. So we go like this, and yeah, that's game. I didn't think about the Inta Stairs. I thought it was going to be very nice every single time. But even if it was very nice, we play the Eternal Dancers and we still win the game because Eternal Dancers gets buffed by the Hollow and it gets to summon a unit that's also going to be buffed up. So, GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Norra Evelynn. So obviously the idea with the opponent's deck is to just level up Norra as soon as possible using the Husk. I think I want to go for a more early game plan. The Reckoner is good, but I definitely want to see if I can get Gwen or something like that. We don't get Gwen, we don't get Katarina, we don't get Elise. It's a little bit awkward here. Maybe it was better to go for the Sentinel as well, by the way. That way we can just play Battlefield if anything.
Can a spirit fight to the death?
I guess let's go double Sentinel. They might not have a way to deal with the fearsomes. They might not have a way to deal with the fearsome. So if we go double Sentinel. So if we go double Sentinel here. And then next turn we can like Battlefield and Flock whatever the opponent summons. It might be pretty good. Yeah, we'll lose that here, but it's getting the Hollow buff in the graveyard, which is good for us. We do have a way to remove the opponent's units, but our hand looks a little bit awkward. Our hand looks a little bit awkward. No Katarina. No Gwen. Give me something that I can kill. Perfect. That's exactly some of the things that I was looking for. I guess we go for the Domination instead. I like going for the Domination instead. I guess technically, actually... Okay, opponent has Haste Spike anyways. Alright. It probably was better to go for the Sky Shadows, right? Because the Sky Shadows is a fearsome blocker. So that's my bad. Our hand is a little bit awkward anyway, so it's not gonna matter. I don't think it's gonna really matter. They also did have the Haste Spikes, so ends up getting them there regardless. Yeah, so they had the Haste Spike, they had the perfect counter regardless, right? So it wasn't gonna matter. And we finally get Katarina. Instead of the opponent gets to play Evelynn here and gets to destroy both Huss and summon another Huss in return. They did play the Haste Spike already, so potentially we don't have to worry about this anymore. Okay, I guess we also get to counter the Haste Spike with the Blaze Edge, so opponent needs to have something else here. I guess a third Haste Spike? No way, right? No way, right? No way that they have the third Haste Spike to punish us with. Ugh. That's gross. That is gross. Okay, opponent has a pretty low value hand, and as I say that, they get the Norra. As I say that they have a low value hand, they get the Norra. So now they're able to kind of come back and play the portals. Opponent's still at 18, which could be problematic. This is actually a good draw. So this is a very good draw, because it stops the Norra from being a good blocker. So now the Norra cannot block. This is pushing 5. Portapalooza does let him get even more portals. And the Norra levels up here now. So now each of their portals is summoning even bigger units, and they also hybrid a lifesteal unit if you didn't see that yet. So they get the Tony Toad. They get a good blocker here with the Conductor too. For the Reckoner. Wow. So Eternal Dancer brings back Katarina, right? And I probably want this Katarina to level up. So this brings back the Katarina, which is pretty good. Right? Yeah, it does. Okay, so if we do it like this, it still brings Katarina. Yes, it does. So we still get to bring back the Katarina. So now we have a level of Katarina. We still have the Blaze Edge. I'm okay with this. What does the opponent have? The opponent has another way to kill the Katarina then? Lightning Rush? Still decent. It's still decent. I guess we just have to be a little bit careful about the portals, right? So the portals is the downside here. Eclectic Collection being out of the way is also good. We have to ruin. We can go here because we can always flock the Norra, right? Which I think is correct. I know technically the Norra is no longer a blocker, but I think it's correct to flock the Norra. We can't let her stay on the field much longer. Fortunately for us, opponent low roll with the Fabled Portal, so it's kind of good for us. It is kind of good for us. I like the Reckoner into the Eternal Dancers. Opponent gets a bunch of elusives here. Cool. How did he get elusive again? Oh, he just rolled elusive. They just actually just hybrid elusive there. We stopped the portal from getting created. We can go Eternal Dancers, which gets us another Katarina. So I want to be able to get this done before the opponent is able to like before we kill another unit in our deck, in our board, that doesn't let us summon Katarina again. So this is pretty good, because actually we can just keep resummoning Katarina, right? I guess not, because I mean this is gonna die anyways. Do we open or do we go? I mean, if we open, do we need to do this? So if we open, we get another Katarina. But then the second Katarina doesn't really help us that much. I might rather do the Gwen. What I do like is the fact that we can play the Reckoner. I do like the idea. I think I pass. Just so that we have the option of potentially doing the Katarina spell here. So like, if we go like this... Oh, because Katarina is no longer dead? Is that why that doesn't work? Okay, so we do get... Why is it bringing back... Why is it bringing back the Hallow instead of the Katarina? Oh, because Katarina has 4 now that she leveled up. So Katarina has 4 now that she leveled up. So ideally, we actually want to do the Gwen. Because we probably need the life. We probably need the lifesteal. We probably need the lifesteal because this guy is actually pushing 7 damage every turn. So I'd rather have the lifesteal here. Evelynn? Okay, Evelynn is a problem. Evelynn is indeed a problem. That's the only punish, right, for us to play, for us playing Gwen. We only have 1 Hallow Death. One also gets Spell Shield on their next unit. We go for the Overwhelm or we go for the second Katarina? I kind of like going like this because this is gonna give me the Hallow buff on the graveyard, which is gonna be very useful.
Time to die.
So the Hallow buff, the extra Hallow buff, I think is gonna be useful because we're gonna play it for the Risen Reckoner to just get the last value that we need. We have a second Eternal Dancers, but here we can, for example, pick Katarina and be able to kill the Living Library. While also getting a big attack with the Overwhelm because the opponent decided not to block the Overwhelm. So the opponent decided not to block the Fallen Reckoner. So now we get an additional 3 Hallow buffs. So this is going to be pushing a lot of damage here. Yep, this is going to be pushing a lot of damage. I think opponent messed up by not killing the Reckoner. Because now we get a really big attack here with the Reckoner. Having 4 Hallow deaths. Having the Ghostly Band doesn't really matter. And then next turn we're still powerful enough that we don't lose. So opponent needs to literally block everything. All we need to do is keep the Reckoner back, in my opinion, so that we don't lose to... an open attack. Right? Because opponent has to block... Yeah, we don't want to lose to like a random open attack, so I think we keep... If opponent blocks... Like, this is the best block that he could have. I agree. We just kill the elusive. Just so that we don't die to any random stuff. And then next turn, we still have a blocker for the Evelynn. So we kill the elusive just so that we potentially don't die. We still have a blocker for the Evelynn.
I do love watching you work. So do my
Opponent gets Challenger.
At least at the start.
We could also just win, right? Opponent doesn't have any heal. So we could just win here. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We block the Evelynn and we're okay. So we just win with the Blaze Edge. Because opponent doesn't have any heals in these regions.
Impress me.
We block the Evelynn. We just take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess they could have like a... They would have to get the Portal Palooza here. There we go. And hit the portal. And that's not true because they have a full board. Because of the husk. So even if they hit the portal, it's never enough. Yeah, because of the husk, even if they hit the portal, it's never enough because the portal goes to their hand. Now, they do have actually an additional 2 damage from the Hallow that I didn't account for. But that still was never enough. So, we get there. GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Lurk. I think we have a lot of units, so we should be okay, especially if we get a House Spider. Not a House Spider, but I don't hate the Battle Feast. I think the Reckoner is too early, and I don't like the Skittler right now either. I think the Skittler is later on in the game, once we have set up a board. Eternal Dancers is not amazing either. Katarina, though, is really good.
Quick hands make quick work.
Ha. So we can block this,
Well,
but I don't know if we want to.
watch your head.
I don't think we want to. I think this has the potential to become a 3-attack unit that can block like some of the fierce and stuff, so that's the way that I want to do it. We can pass here. If the opponent goes for the Snapjaw, we can Battle Feast on the stack. We can always Katarina here and have the blades. Okay. Okay. What if we don't Katarina anymore? What if we don't Katarina anymore? Because I'm afraid of the vulnerable unit, right? The opponent has to attack. They just predict it. Oh, they hit the Rek'Sai? Yeah, so opponent has to attack since they just predict it. So let's just get our value here. And I guess we go for the Phantom Butler. And then we can play Katarina. Opponent did Rek'Sai, so they could still have Pike though. They could still have Pike. Because of the turn 1 Lurk. So double Treasure Seeker. Double Walking Sands. I'd still like the Katarina. I like the Katarina to put a lot of pressure. There's the Pike that we just talked about, but the Pike now loses to the Flock. I guess we attack here first. If the opponent decides to just block, we can always Blaze Edge the Pike. I'm sorry, we can always flock the Pike afterwards. Now we go here. So they literally hit Pike on turn 1 without any predict when they just play the Treasure Seeker. And then they predict it into Rek'Sai, so they have both champions. They could have Bone Skewer, they don't have it. They're down to 3 cards and it's still down to 13 HP. We have the Eternal Dancers, which actually lets us bring back Katarina. As long as we don't die, as long as we don't lose anything else in our foil, that's like this cards, right? We probably have to. Yeah, we still bring Katarina even if we do the Butler, right?
Watch your head.
You're gonna give me the. Why?
To the chase.
Why do it like this? I'm not really scared of losing the Gwen to the Under Titan. Opponent also missed the Lurk from what I saw there, right? So we know that the opponent is drawing a non-Lurk card. Because we have the Eternal Dancers, I'm willing to do this. This is gonna be 3 sits. Yeah, sure. This is fine by me. You're gonna block this Gwen, but we still get Katarina back. There we go. You block Gwen, you block one of the other ones, and we're still doing 3 sits, 9, and we still get Katarina back in our hand to allow us to do the rally. This doesn't die, so we can actually just play Katarina once more. You're gonna go, actually, if he goes like this, he loses the game. Because now we can just Blaze Edge the face. I guess they had no choice. No matter what, they're always taking enough damage to take them down to 2. We Blaze Edge the face, we summon Katarina next turn, and unless the opponent has a lot of negation, they don't beat the 0 cost Blaze Edge. Armory is cute. So Armory is nice, and that's how they miss the Lurk. It's a cute spell to play with Rek'Sai, so that you level up Rek'Sai right away. We're 3Y. When it's only a 7 mana, we just play Katarina, and we have a fast speed way to percent lethal. Now, I still want to play around Random Negation, so I'm going to go ahead and attack if the opponent gives me the option here. And there we go. This brings back Gwen, if I remember correctly. Yes, it does. So we go like this. And the Gwen is presenting lethal with her skill, and then we also have the Blaze Edge just in case. So, still want to spread my variegation, even though Gwen already said GG. You never know. You never know, right? You never know. So, pretty nice pressure that we put in. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Thresh, Ashe. This should actually be kind of like a counter matchup, right? They have a lot of freezes for the Katarina, which could be really problematic. I do like the idea of Flock with Katarina, though. I don't know if I like the Sentinel. I think I want to see if I can get my Hollow units instead of the Sentinel. Yeah, we get the Sentinel back anyway, so the game is telling us that the Sentinel is what we want. We have multiple ways to trigger the Flock between Katarina and Biofeast, so that's pretty nice. Harrowing could be useful later on, but probably not this early. Do these decks play Ruination? I can't remember. I can't remember if they played the Ruination. I'm gonna go here. If the opponent wants to drag the 1-2, it means that we can then kill it with like Biofeast or Flock. I'm thinking they're probably tempted not to do anything though. Okay. So opponent's gonna just open themselves up to a Flock. I'll take that. Or the Katarina spell, right? Either way. What if we go Sentinel? See what they do first, and then we play Katarina. Want to see what they do first before we play Katarina.
No going back.
I have one concern. Opponent could freeze us, right? And then kill us with the wolf. So we probably need to enable both flocks. Probably need to enable both flocks. So I'm gonna do this first. Opponent always wants to kill this Katarina, by the way. Opponent always wants to kill this Katarina. I'm gonna see if they have the way to kill her. We have to do it before the combat, because obviously if we kill the wolf on the stack, then the opponent's able to we wouldn't be able to level up Katarina. Opponent shouldn't have a way to kill Katarina anymore, so Katarina will level up. We even get the Hallow Death on the field. We go like this, push forward, get Katarina back, and now we're chilling. Nice. We did lose the flocks, right? Which means that we didn't have a great way to deal with the Thresh. So we don't have a great way to deal with the Thresh, because we already used 2 flocks. That's not a Thresh. That is not a Thresh. We can just play Katarina and just attack. Opponent could have Brittle Steel though. So if they have Brittle Steel, that's a problem. Don't have Brittle Steel. I guess we could have also... I didn't want to do the Blaze Edge. Go here. At this point, opponent is slow enough that I think I don't mind going to their face.
Ice runs in our veins.
Don't think I mind going to their face. The Sentry is interesting. So I kind of like the Sentry. The opponent's never gonna block with the Shaman anyways.
Nothing escapes my eyes.
And then we go here. I just want to put them in a really awkward spot where I'm just pushing a ton of damage. They could Troll Shan here, and if they Troll Shan here, I'm okay. Remember we have double Harrowing. So at this point, it doesn't really matter. We're just gonna go for the Harrowing win condition. 3 Sisters. Okay. Question is, do we push the 2? Is it worth it to push the 2 damage here?
Oh, dark.
Is it worth it to push the 2 damage? Probably not, right? We can just Katarina to kill the Sentry next turn.
Reveals all to me.
So we can just Katarina to kill this sentry. Or if opponent gives it to us like that, that's also okay. Let's Katarina, because opponent knows that we have it in our hand. They can Vengeance this. We're gonna Blaze Edge first. Let them get the draw, that's okay. We're gonna Phantom Butler afterwards. Again, at this point, we don't care because we have Ruination. So I'm just trying to do whatever. Like, I'm just trying to just push damage. The downside is if the opponent doesn't kill Katarina, right? So if the opponent actually doesn't kill her, that's when things get annoying. We go like this. I'm willing to spread out my damage, I think. Because if opponent kills this one, you just get another Hallow buff. Opponent could have the freeze for Katarina so that she doesn't attack. Or just Vengeance. That's great. Remember, we have the Hallow buff, right? Opponent tapped out of Ruination as well, so we get double Hallow buff, and we're gonna get Katarina again in our hand, in our field, which is gonna get her back to our hand. I would love to do this instead, but I think it has to be Harrowing. I think we save the Fallen Reckoner for later. And that should be game without Ruination. And we get a Katarina back. We can even kill this girl right here, which enables all our Sentinels, yeah. So we kill this girl here, enabling all our Sentinels to become 3/3s. And we attack for everything. And that's game. Yeah, a little bit too much pressure from this deck, which the Ashe Thresh is not able to really survive, so GG's. Hey, welcome back everybody. Hope you enjoyed those games. We had some really fun ones there. I'm still confused about what the Timelines player was thinking. I think they had lethal like so many different ways, but I guess they played it like really, really safe, and that ended up costing them, right? And then you also saw the same thing with the Pirate Aggro match, or the opponent's just playing like super, super slow with the Riptide Sirturmund. It's like sometimes people are playing too slow, trying to be like reactive and trying to read your hands, that they actually lose their chance to actually get to their victory. At the end of the day, you can play around opponent's cards and you can wait and save your Riptide Sirturmund to hit their Gwen, but at some point you have to just slam that card down, because otherwise you fall too far behind on tempo to actually come back into the game, which is exactly what happened in both of those games where they just couldn't do anything, right? We are a better late game deck than most decks because we have Fallen Reckoner and the Harrowing and Eternal Dancers and Katarina. So it's really weird when people are trying to play this super slow against us. But enough about that. It's a learning lesson for all you that are watching us as well. Don't be scared to just slam things down, right? You can't just save your cards for like forever. You lose too much tempo. If you want to learn some of this mulligan for this deck, really, you kind of got the idea, right? I do want to kind of go for like an early game plan, so I'm keeping Elise, the one of Elise, obviously. I don't hate keeping the host because you want to just get the Hallow buff sooner rather than later. The Sentinel can be really nice as well if you have Haste Spike or another way to remove like Battle another way to trigger it early on. But I'm looking for my Hallow buff, so I'm looking for the host, I'm looking for the Elise, I'm looking for the Phantom Butler. All these cards that can push a lot of damage early, as well as start getting the Hallow on the field. I don't hate keeping one Katarina, especially if I know that the opponent has no way to remove her. But even if they do, it might be okay to do it, just so that you can force the removal out earlier rather than later. And then Gwen can be good to keep if your early hand is already good enough. If your early hand is not good enough, then I probably kick Gwen and try to look for some more early tools. But again, Host, Elise, Butler are our main cards that we want to get. Sentinel, if you already have all the cards. Battlefield, if you're going against aggro. House Spider, if you're going against aggro. And then Katarina, Gwen, if you already have pretty much a pretty good early board. But yeah, enough about that. As always, if you do like the content and my videos, please make sure to subscribe below. We post a lot of videos every single day. That way you don't miss out on any of our content. And you can also find us on Twitch at Sirturmund, where we stream about 2 to 3 times a week. And you can also find us on Discord and Twitter. The links to those are both in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again tomorrow.